We're going to find elapsed time, and what that means is we're going to figure out how long an event lasts. Our problems are going to tell us what time it starts and what time it ends, and we're going to use something called a T-chart to help us solve these problems. In this first example, it says Devin and Jake started playing at the time shown on clock number 1. They finished at the time shown on clock 2. How long did they play for? It's super important that the kids understand how to read an analog clock, because in this case, they're going to have to read both times on the clocks and be accurate in order to find the correct amount of elapsed time. So on clock number 1, I'm going to write the time below that one. I see that my hour hand is between 3 and 4, and I always go with that number that's behind or go backwards. So 3 would be my hour. And looking at my minute hand, if I count by 5 all the way around my clock, I know that it's 3:40. And for clock number 2, again, my hour hand is in between the 5 and the 6, and I always go backwards. So my hour is going to be 5 o'clock. And my minute hand is one tick mark before the 9, so it should be 5:44. With this information, I'm going to use my T-chart to help me solve how much time elapsed between 3:40 and 5:44. On this T-chart, you always put time on the left and hours and minutes on the right. My start time is written at the top of my T-chart, and my end time is written at the bottom. That lets me know what I'm working towards. The first step after writing both of your times on your T-chart is to look at your hours. I have 3 and 5. Those numbers are different, so I'm going to add 2 hours to my current time so that I have matching hours. So 3:40 plus 2 hours would be 5:40. Now, looking at my minutes, I have 40 minutes and I need to get to 44 minutes. I can think 40 plus what equals 44, and I know that if I were to add 4 minutes, I would reach 5:44. To find my final answer, I need to add everything in that right-hand column. So Devin and Jake played for 2 hours and 4 minutes. And if I were to plot those 2 times on a number line like the one shown below, I need to count my tick marks. Since there are so many tick marks between each hour, I'm going to make sure that these are counting by 5s like a regular clock would. So I'm going to start at 3 o'clock and just make sure that each of these tick marks represents 5 minutes. Since there are 60 minutes in an hour, I should land on 60 when I get to 4 o'clock. There's 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. I'm going to plot my 2 times. So 3:40, if this is 3:30, 3:35, this would be 3:40. And then 5:44, I look down here at 5 o'clock. Again, this halfway mark is my signal that means 5:30, so I can count forward from there. 5:35, 5:40, and I'm going to plot a point just a little bit before 5:45. So to find elapsed time, use a T-chart to help you, but the students are also going to have to eventually plot that time on the number line also. In this second example, we have Bradley, who's building a Lego set. He starts building at 11:08 and finishes at 11:45. How long did it take him to finish? In my word problems, I always circle the numbers they give me and underline that question. I'm going to box any keywords. They have given me the start time of 11:08 and the end time of 11:45. And that phrase, how long, is my clue that I'm looking for the elapsed time. Again, my start time will go at the top of my T-chart, 11:08, and my end time will go at the bottom, 11:45. Again, that lets me know what I'm working towards. First, check out your hours, make sure they're the same, 11 and 11. I don't have to add any hours to my time. So I'm going to start adding minutes. And I always say add 10 minutes at the most at a time, because at the end when you go to calculate how much time passed, it's easier to count by tens and fives. So I'm going to add 10 minutes first. I'm looking at my minutes side now. So 8 plus 10, I know is 18. Since I didn't add any hours in this example, my hours would still be the same, 11:18. I'm not at 11:45 yet, so I'm going to add another 10 minutes. And my new time is going to be 11:28. Still not there, so I'm going to add another 10 minutes. That would be at 11:38. If I were to add another 10 minutes, that would put me at 11:48, which would go past my end time. I don't want to do that. So now I'm going to go by smaller increments. I'm going to add 5 minutes this time, and that would put me at 11:43. And I'm super close to 11:45, so I can think in my head 43 plus what is going to give me 45. You can add 2 more minutes, and that would get me to 11:45. Again, to calculate elapsed time, I have to add everything over here in this column. And this is why I like to add by tens and fives and smaller increments, because it's going to be a lot easier at the end. So I can count by tens, 10, 20, 30, 35, 36, 37. So 37 minutes have gone by. And again, I can plot this time on my number line. And this time, if I look between my hours, I only have 3 tick marks. So my number line is going up by 15-minute increments. This first tick mark after 11 would be 11:15, then 11:30, 11:45. And the same thing after 12 o'clock, 12:15, 12:30, 12:45. I'm going to plot my start time of 11:08, and it's roughly around this point. And then 11:45 would be here. Hope this helps.